Taylor Swift is being called in. According to court documents obtained by Us Weekly, the Bejeweled singer has agreed to be questioned by Justin Baldoni's legal team as part of the It Ends With Us director's ongoing legal battle with co-star Blake Lively.
New court documents from Team Baldoni claimed Taylor agreed to appear, but now her team is coming out swinging, saying that's a stretch. Swift never agreed, but will appear if she's forced.
Ready or not, Taylor could be forced to answer questions under oath by Justin Baldoni's legal team during a sworn deposition likely to be the week of October 20th.
The entertainment world just exploded with news that nobody saw coming. Taylor Swift, the biggest pop star on the planet, has officially agreed to sit down for a legal deposition in the explosive Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit. This isn't some celebrity cameo or friendly chat. We're talking about Swift going under oath, on camera, ready to spill everything she knows about her relationship with Blake Lively and the alleged blackmail scheme that's been whispered about for months. Court documents filed by Baldoni's legal team reveal that Swift will be deposed during the week of October 20th through 25th. And here's the kicker. She didn't fight it. No legal battles, no attempts to dodge the subpoena. Swift's team simply said yes, which tells us everything we need to know about where her loyalties lie in this Hollywood nightmare. The fact that she's willing to testify for Baldoni's side, not Lively's, should have Blake's team scrambling for damage control right about now.
Finally, it says here at the end, Ms. Lively misleading implies the Wayfair parties seek a blanket 30-day extension of the discovery cutoff date. In fact, the Wayfair parties request an agreement solely to take the deposition of Taylor Swift on the week of October 20 to 25th due to Ms. Swift's pre-existing professional obligations. Whether the court agrees to the broader modification sought by plaintiff, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court modify the scheduling order for the sole purpose of accommodating third-party witness Taylor Swift, who has agreed to appear for deposition but is unable to do so before October 20th, 2025.
The deposition centers around explosive allegations that surfaced back in May, when leaked reports claimed Blake Lively had been pressuring Swift to publicly support her during the initial controversy. But that's not all. Sources suggest Lively allegedly asked Swift to delete text messages between them, which crosses into serious evidence tampering territory. These aren't just friendly celebrity spats we're talking about.
Yes, Taylor Swift agreed to be deposed by Brian Friedman. She is sitting down for an on-camera interview to talk about her relationship with Blake Lively and probably about the text messages that Blake Lively sent to her when she was trying to blackmail her because she wanted her to support her in public, and Taylor Swift refused to do that. Also, according to what leaked to the media back in May, Taylor Swift had been asked by Blake Lively to delete text messages between them. That's basically evidence tampering, which is very serious.
This involves potential federal crimes that could destroy careers permanently. Swift's willingness to testify under oath suggests she's ready to confirm these allegations, despite the massive public relations nightmare it could create. The timing couldn't be worse for Lively, who's already struggling to maintain credibility as more details emerge about her behavior during the film's production. Swift's cooperation with Baldoni's legal team sends a clear message about which version of events she believes is truthful. Baldoni's team dropped their original subpoena against Swift earlier this year, but now she's volunteering to testify anyway, which completely changes the game. It gets even worse for Lively because Swift isn't being called as a witness to support Blake's narrative. She's testifying for the defense, which means her testimony will likely demolish whatever case Lively thought she had.
And if Taylor Swift are going to share these things under that deposition under oath, and she is Justin Baldoni's witness, this is major, you guys.
Legal experts suggest that when A-list celebrities willingly enter depositions in cases like this, they typically have bombshell information that could shift public opinion dramatically.
So all of this information came to light back in May of this year when Baldoni's team agreed to drop the subpoena against Taylor Swift. In that subpoena, they were looking for information how Taylor Swift was actually involved in the production and everything with It Ends With Us. Now, that's not really their goal here. Their goal here is to get the information out of Taylor Swift that was leaked to the media, apparently by Taylor Swift's dad back in May, that Blake Lively had been blackmailing and threatening her friend Taylor Swift to support her.
The fact that Swift's team isn't trying to limit her testimony or negotiate restricted questioning suggests she's prepared to answer everything Baldoni's lawyers want to know. This development transforms what many viewed as a he said, she said celebrity dispute into something with potentially criminal implications, especially if Swift confirms the evidence tampering allegations under oath. Blake Lively's public relations team must be in complete panic mode right now because attacking Taylor Swift would be career suicide in today's entertainment landscape. Things take an unexpected turn when you realize that Swift commands one of the most devoted fan bases in entertainment history, and they're about to hear their idol testify against someone they probably never cared about anyway.
It's so funny to look back now, the reaction of Blake Lively's team when that subpoena was dropped. They were like, the Baldoni and Wayfair team has tried to put Taylor Swift, a woman who has been an inspiration for tens of millions across the globe, at the center of this case since day one, Lively spokesperson said. Forced with having to justify themselves in federal court, they folded. At some point, they will run out of distractions from the actual claims of SH and retaliation they are facing. That's what they said to Variety. Back in May, guess what? Taylor Swift agreed to do this. She didn't even fight the deposition. She said, yes, I'll do it.
Lively's team previously claimed that Baldoni was using Swift's name for publicity, but now Swift is voluntarily participating, which makes those earlier statements look desperate and dishonest. The optics couldn't be worse. Here's Blake Lively, already facing accusations of manipulative behavior, now being contradicted by someone with infinitely more public goodwill and credibility. Entertainment journalists are already speculating about how outlets that have been favorable to Lively will handle Swift's testimony, especially since going against Swift typically results in massive backlash from her fanbase.
And that says a lot. A spokesperson for Swift said back then that this is just tabloid clickbait, and Taylor Swift never set foot on the set of this movie. She was not involved in any casting or creative decisions, blah, blah, blah. She said that basically Taylor Swift wasn't involved, which I believe that. I think that Blake Lively made it up that she was so involved in this movie, and she actually wasn't. She just gave them this song, and Blake Lively used her name as her dragon to get more publicity for the movie. And Taylor Swift had enough, and now she's willing to tell the truth.
The million-dollar question now becomes whether Baldoni's team has already seen the text messages between Swift and Lively, and if so, what nuclear information they contain. And here's where it gets wild. Court orders required Lively to turn over these communications months ago, but there's no guarantee she provided everything, especially if she never expected Swift to testify and contradict her version of events. Swift's deposition could expose whether Lively held back crucial evidence, which would add perjury and obstruction charges to an already explosive legal situation. Sources close to the case suggest Baldoni's team has been unusually quiet lately, which typically indicates they're sitting on devastating evidence they plan to use strategically. The fact that Swift is willing to testify suggests she has nothing to hide and everything to gain by telling the truth, while Lively's side grows more desperate with each new development. Swift's deposition will definitely surface in pieces, even though it starts as a private recording session with Baldoni's legal team controlling the footage. What came next surprised everyone. Depositions in high-profile cases like this always get strategically leaked through court filings, exactly like we've seen with Blake Lively's own deposition excerpts appearing in legal documents over recent months. Baldoni's lawyers will use the most damaging clips to support their counterclaims, which means we'll get tantalizing snippets of Swift's testimony embedded in future court motions. The entertainment media will go absolutely insane trying to analyze every word, gesture, and facial expression from whatever footage gets released. industry insiders predict this case won't make it to trial anymore because Lively's evidence appears increasingly weak, especially with Swift's bombshell testimony looming. The biggest pop star in the world publicly contradicting your version of events tends to end legal disputes pretty quickly, and Lively's team knows they can't win a public relations war against Taylor Swift's army of devoted fans. Speaking of career moves, sources are now claiming Blake Lively might be planning to study law and become an attorney, following Kim Kardashian's path into legal practice. Things get even messier from here because industry insiders suggest she's been fascinated by lawyer strategy during her current legal battles, which raises questions about whether she's learning from her own attorney's questionable tactics. The speculation includes claims that Ryan Reynolds initially thought she was joking about law school, but apparently she's already looking into LSAT preparation courses. This potential career change seems perfectly timed, considering her Hollywood prospects look increasingly grim after Swift's upcoming testimony destroys whatever credibility she had left. One source allegedly said Lively imagines herself walking into courtrooms with every camera in the world present, which sounds exactly like someone who still doesn't understand that this isn't about publicity stunts. Honestly, would anyone trust Blake Lively as their legal representation after watching how her current lawyers have handled this disaster? Ryan Reynolds is currently embarrassing himself on a promotional tour for a John Candy documentary, but he's managed to make the entire thing about himself rather than honoring the beloved comedian. Here's where it gets wild. The promotional materials literally feature Reynolds' photo bigger than John Candy's, and he's calling it an evening with Ryan Reynolds and friends, while charging fans between $76 and $112 for tickets. This feels like a desperate attempt to rebrand himself using John Candy's universally beloved reputation, especially after receiving massive backlash for being rude to a young reporter at the Toronto Film Festival. Reynolds clearly thinks he can manufacture positive headlines about his class acts to distract from the growing controversy surrounding his wife's legal troubles. The timing couldn't be more transparent. Just as Swift prepares to testify against Blake, Ryan suddenly needs everyone to remember how wonderful he supposedly is. It's textbook celebrity crisis management, except it's so obvious and tone-deaf that it's actually making things worse for both of them.